Hello, this is Brian with Smartel, where we are optimizing wireless. Congratulations on the purchase of your new 5G internet connection along with a cellular router. Today I'm going to go over the setup and the various aspects of your new in-hand ER805 router. Everything from the components involved, how you physically set it up, and setting up your Wi-Fi connection, and even changing your administrative password. So let's dig in. So here is everything you get in the box when you open up your ER805 by in-hand. First, I'll look at the main piece here. You've got various LEDs right here. The first one shows power. The second one shows your internet connection. Then you've got your 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connections. On the back, you've got your cellular SIM card tray. You're never going to have to mess with that. When this thing arrives to you, it will already have the SIM card in there and tested. You've also got 5 Ethernet ports here that go with this Ethernet cable. When we go later on to configure the device, we're going to plug an Ethernet cable into one of the 4 LAN ports. You'll see that you've got LAN 1/WAN 2, then you've got LAN 2, LAN 3, and LAN 4. We're going to stay away from WAN 1. That's for more advanced stuff where people have multiple internet connections coming into the same device. Probably not the case here. Also, we've got 4 SMA connectors in the back, as well as 1 on each side. They're little small coaxial cables. The 2 on the outside are cellulars 1 and 2, and then on the sides are cellular 3 and 4. And on the inside here, you've got Wi-Fi 1 and 2. You'll see also down here, you've got 4 cellular paddles and 2 Wi-Fi paddles. Various mounting hardware. If you want to set it on a desktop, you've got these little rubber feet that you can attach to the bottom in these 4 little corners. And you've also have mounting brackets with screws that would connect to the sides of the device on each side here, and you could mount it into a rack. Finally, we have the power connector. So how do we set this thing up? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to try to find the best spot to locate for your router. And the best place to find is going to be somewhere close to a window that has a pretty good line of sight to the nearest cell tower. In this case, you're using Verizon, so it's going to be one that's closest to the Verizon tower. You can always plug it in, test it out, plug it in somewhere else and test it out, but this is going to be a good place to start. After that, you're going to plug in or twist on your antennas. Now, these 2 small ones, the 2 round ones, these are your Wi-Fi antennas. It's very important to not put the Wi-Fi antennas on the cellular connectors and vice versa. So again, the Wi-Fi connections are the ones that are on the inside of the back, cellular on the side. And here are some cellular paddles. You'll want to twist them until they're thumb tight. If you don't twist it hard enough, it'll get wobbly and your signal will drop. If you strong arm it too much, you might break it. So just a thumb tight twist and you should be good. Now with the cellular paddles themselves, each one of them is the same. So you don't have to, there's no assigned seating in that regard. You can put any one of these cellular paddles in any one of the cellular paddle spots. When you do that, you'll want to flip them up. And finally, you will plug the power connector right in the back here. I'm going to plug this into it's off screen, a power outlet. And you'll see that when you do that, some lights turn on. immediately your 5G and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi will turn on. Then you'll have a flashing blue light for the power, and eventually you'll get either and it takes about a minute, but eventually you'll get either a yellow, green, or blue light for that world symbol, which is your internet. I'm not going to see that here. I don't have a SIM card put in here, so it's just going to show as red. But once this is fully done booting up, you'll see a solid light for the power, a solid either yellow, blue, green, or blue light for the internet, and then you'll have solid lights for your 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz connections. The last piece for the physical setup is to plug an Ethernet cable, one like this one we have here, into the back of your laptop. And then we plug the other one into one of the LAN ports on your router. You'll know that it's connected when you start to see some lights, green and orange lights on that port. And now we're going to go and do some of the software setup, setting up your administrative password and your Wi-Fi username and password. So now that we have powered on our in-hand 805 and we've connected it to your laptop with the data cable, remember, we're only using the LAN ports. We don't want to connect to WAN 1. We're going to set your computer so that it can talk to the in-hand router. And it's going to look pretty complicated, but it's really, really not. So just follow my lead and you'll get it no problem. So you take your mouse to the bottom right of the screen, right near where you have your date and time. You'll see your little network icon. And you're going to right click that and select Network and Internet Settings. This opens up a page. Now for me, it opened up a full screen. Yours, it might not be a full screen, and if it's smaller than the full screen, you might have to scroll down. We're going to select Advanced Network Settings here, and it takes us to the next screen. And again, you might have to scroll down to the Related Settings field. And in there, we're going to select More Network Adapter Options. Now here, this is kind of where everybody's computer starts to look a little bit different. I happen to have a Bluetooth network connection here. I have a Wi-Fi connection. This Pertino is something that we don't need to worry about. I have Ethernet 3 and Ethernet 5. You might have things that I don't have here, and I might have things that you don't have here. What we're going to look for is something that says Ethernet 1, Ethernet 2, Ethernet 7, Ethernet something, but does not have the red X. That means it's connected to something. And in this case, that's us being connected to the router. So this is the network connection we want to mess with. You're going to right click it and you're going to select properties. Now before I select properties, you'll note that there is a blue and yellow shield next to it. Sometimes Windows on your computer will want to make sure that you're doing something safe. And so you might get a pop-up when you do this that asks you, are you sure that you want to do this? And just to make sure that you want to do it, go ahead and click OK, and it will take you and open up this little page. You've got a lot of stuff here that you don't have to worry about. The only thing you'll need to notice is Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IPv4. You'll click on it and select Properties. Now your setup right here on this next page may look similar to mine in that there's a whole bunch of numbers, IP addresses, and all these areas. If not, it may look like this, where everything is grayed out. And that's actually what we want. So if you had a bunch of IP addresses and stuff in there, we're going to switch that to the blue button being in Obtain an IP address automatically, and down here, Obtain DNS server address automatically. When we've done that, we're going to click OK, close, We can then close this box here and close that settings window, and we're back to our desktop. So now we're going to open up a incognito window. All of the major browsers will have one. Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox. I'm going to be using Chrome. And the way to open up the incognito window, I believe Microsoft Edge calls it in private browsing. We're going to right click on our Google Chrome icon and select New Incognito Window. And you'll see a dark looking window pop up. And here at the top, at the URL bar, you're going to type 192.168.2.1 and hit enter. Now, I have gone to this site a lot of times, so I no longer get the warning. You might have seen a warning. It pops up a warning window that says, this site is not secure. What do you want to do about it? You would click Advanced, and then another option would pop up underneath that where it says Proceed Anyways to 192.168.2.1. Go ahead and accept that. We are not running any sort of a security risk here. This isn't even touching the internet yet. So once you accept that, it'll take you to this page where we will log in. The username, ADM. That's Alpha Delta Mike, ADM. And the password is 123456. And then we click Login. Now, if you're anything like me, an administrative password of 123456 doesn't seem all that secure. And so the first thing we're going to do is to change that password into something more complex. And keep in mind also that 123456 is the default administrative password for every single one of these devices that gets shipped out. Now, don't get confused about the difference. We're changing the administrative password, which is different than your Wi-Fi password. We're going to set up your Wi-Fi here in a little bit, where somebody finds the Wi-Fi on their phone, connects to it, and then types in their password. That's a different password. This password applies only to when we're actually logging into the router itself to make changes, like we're doing right now. So in order to do this, you're going to find this green band at the top and go all the way to the right. You're going to click on ADM, and you're going to click Modify Password. And here you're going to want to put a strong, secure password. And basically what that means is you're going to want at least 8 characters. At least one of them is going to be an uppercase letter, lowercase letter, a number, and a special character. The longer the password is and the more nonsensical it is, the harder it is for an attacker or a hacker to get into it. So I'm going to set one up right now. I fat fingered that. And as soon as you hit save, it's going to kick you out. And now you need to log in again with your new password. And we're back. The next thing we're going to do is to change the Wi-Fi password and your SSID. So over on the left-hand side, you'll locate where it says Wi-Fi and click on it. Now you'll see 2 entries here, and each one is going to start with ER805-. What comes after that is going to be different for each model that's sent out, or each unit that's sent out. You'll notice on the bottom here that's got ER805-5G. And don't let that confuse you. It has nothing to do with the 5G cell service that you've purchased. It is referring to the band 5.0 gigahertz. And we're going to go into that a little bit. So 2.4 gigahertz, if you look in the middle here, this middle column, it says band and in parentheses channel. You've got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. And just a little bit of information about this. The 2.4 gigahertz has been around for a long time, and it refers to It's really good for scenarios where you've got a wide spread out area. If there's a lot of stuff blocking in the way, walls, metal walls, it does a pretty good job of getting through those things. However, if you can manage it, if you have an environment that you're going to place this in that is not all that big and it doesn't have a whole lot of major obstructions in the way, you might want to go and log in with the 5 gigahertz one. This one doesn't travel as far, and it doesn't do well with going through metal walls or next to very high powered electrical things like junction boxes, but it's a lot faster. So if you can get away with it, go with 5 gigahertz. If not, you can always fall back on your 2.4 gigahertz. And we're going to configure both of these. To do that, we're going to do the 2.4 gigahertz one first. We'll go to the right here and click on Edit. You're going to change the SSID. In this case, I'm going to make mine Brian's Network. Make sure the status of it is not gray but green. And then you're going to change the key. The key is your password. And we're going to want to make it just as complex as the other ones. So let's make it complex here. Hit save, and we're done. Now let's do the same thing for the bottom one, the 5 gigahertz channel. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to put in parentheses here 5.0 gigahertz. Make sure the status is set to on. It's green. And then I'll change my password. And hit save. All right, at this point, you should be able to log into your Wi-Fi from your phone or a different laptop or computer nearby. Now, the last little piece of configuration that you can do, and you don't have to, but I like to do it, is you can go down here on the system on the left-hand side and click it and select System Clock. By default, this is set to China. Likely you're not in China. So I'm going to go up here and set it to Central Time. I'm in Texas. And you can leave everything else here default. pool.ntp.org is a perfectly fine time server. And you hit save. And now you're in your correct time zone. We'll head back to the dashboard here. You should see on the cellular symbol right here, it should be green on yours. Mine is gray. I don't have a SIM card in mine right now, but if you click on it, you can see the status of it. And a lot of this may not make much sense to you, and it doesn't really have to. I'm going to X this out. The last piece I wanted to talk to you about was where should I set this router? And to understand that, you're going to need to understand two things. You've got 2 networks that this router plays with. The first network is the cellular network. This is the internet coming into it from the cell towers outside. The second one is your Wi-Fi network. And your router actually creates this Wi-Fi network, and that's what your devices in the house, your smart TVs, your laptops, your phones, that's what they connect to. And we're going to find that oftentimes the best place to put your cell router is not always the best place for Wi-Fi propagation. And the reason is this. You're always going to want to find the place in your house to put the router as close to where you get the strongest cellular signal. And usually that's off to the side near a window facing outdoors. Typically, if you want something that gives you Wi-Fi, you're going to want it in the middle of the house so that it can propagate everywhere else. But you might find that your cellular router, even being next to the outdoor wall, is still going to provide you the Wi-Fi coverage you need all throughout the house. And again, remember the difference between the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5.0. If your 5.0 is not enough, if you're having dead spots out at the other side of the house, try to connect to the 2.4. If that's still not enough, then talk to Smartel, give Smartel a call, and talk to them about the situation. There are many things that you can do. You can use a Wi-Fi extender, a Wi-Fi repeater, or even connect an access point so that you can get your Wi-Fi everywhere in the house.